Hi everyone. So today we're going to go over the Burlington training that was given in the morning. There's a couple of really neat new things. One of them is this English for specific careers. That was a really big deal. Sorry, I have to turn this down. So, English for specific careers. So, they really improved on all of these word lists for specific careers for vocabulary. There are multiple languages. And they definitely coincide with our co-ops. So if you're talking about employment, auto mechanics, we have nursing assistants, and there's just everything from HVAC to plumbing to network support specialists, servers, web developers. It helps increase the vocabulary of our students. So even if we bring back electrician, which we're trying to get an electrician class, sometimes they'll be in our CTE classes, and we'll also have them from intermediate level to advanced. So we really want to encourage these courses. It's really important to know that these are here. And then we do have a lot of health science classes. So what we really want are nursing classes, our medical assistant classes. We really want them to be able to take advantage of this vocabulary. They can use this to study. It's really useful because it gives them vocabulary and diagrams that they can print, which in their textbook they might not have this. So it's really useful to make use of that. And then there's all kinds of conversations, practical conversations, explaining procedures, basic care. It coincides with the things they're already doing and learning. And there's an example, how to use it, and they can test themselves. So it's almost like flashcards that are ready made. And since we're already paying for this, it's useful to have everybody take advantage of it. Students can create their own word list, and then teachers can monitor their progress through this digital filter. At the end of progress, you can type in a student's name, and then you'll be able to get the breakdown on their wheel. They'll be, if you click this box, they get you can choose a 7-day, and then you can see who's been using that. I don't have any students in this class, so it's not easy to find that particular one. But if I go into registered nurses, there's a bunch of vocabulary in there as well. That's really good. That helps them to discuss all of these problems and to talk about an assessment. It's really front and back office issues, how to talk with the family using medical equipment, and it helps with our trilingual students with vocabulary and pronunciation of these hard words. So we're really hoping that all classes will eventually be using that. It just helps us align curriculum. But if you go down in here, you'll notice that there's soft skills for specific careers, and it gets even more detailed into what you can do if you have certain skills. So if you're in a nursing class, you don't have to be a nurse. You can do a variety of other things. And then how to interview for that job. So what we're trying to do is have all the teachers, no matter what you're teaching students, is focusing on how to get the job, how to go for the nursing job, training and safety, on the job training, handling complaints. I'm sure nurses get a lot of those these days. So it's really important to help them practice. And there's all these tools here. There's timers, there's a scoreboard. You can use it with partners in the classroom, and this would be a really good thing to do, especially while you're practicing your Keenan or you are testing other people. If you're doing an active blood draw, other students can be practicing their vocabulary, for example. The good thing is that this helps them
bad attitude,
talk about
bother, Customer Service Department.
All of these have really good breakdown in vocabulary and how to use it, and that they often will see this and it'll help them practice. It's just extra practice. Okay, so we really hope everybody uses this. We even have vocabulary for welding. And our other, let's see, we have our plumbers, we have our HVAC, we have our cooks, childcare workers, and then there's even more over here. This actually, for people who are working in offices, human resources manager, setting up meetings, greeting and assisting visitors. This is a lot of what we do in the front office. We do a lot of customer service, managing office supplies, preparing documents. So there's a lot of things in here that we can train our students for as well. Composing letters, preparing PowerPoint presentations or Google Slides, creating spreadsheets, filling out documents. So as a teacher, you might want to take a look at these ideas first, because they can even help you if you're just not used to using these kind of formulas in a spreadsheet and you're not sure. So it's a really good way to get some technical skills as well. Okay, why not, right? Composing letters. Everyone can use this lesson. You just change the topic, but it gives you a really good idea of how to craft a letter. Okay, so they can work on that. And working through this will help. You give some background information. There's an activity with drop-down menu. It's interactive, so it's meant to be useful to the students so that they can work on that. And it'll give them some academic vocabulary that's good to put in a letter. A lot of times these words don't come up, don't come naturally to mind. It's good to have like a little word bank or some keywords to be using in a letter. But this is a great example. And that's just practice conversation. So I recommend that you go ahead and take a look at this. It's really useful information with a ready-made lesson plan. And then this is the wheel of progress. So the woman, Misty, was out ill today, and we had Suzanne today. She kept referring to the wheel of progress, the lesson's progress. And that's what this is. Usually it'll be with a percent of how far the student got. So you'll be able to see how far the students get. You can use a timer. You can put the timer directly on your page and have students turn to each other and have a conversation about what they want to write letters about. That's useful as well. So no matter what you're teaching, it's really important that in the background, we're teaching all of these skills as well. It's really important. Okay. The next thing she showed us today, and this is just deep in there, she gave us time to kind of explore. This is a new section. So it was really important. I wanted her to kind of show you all these new sections. If you're getting a job in finance, no matter what that job is, here's a bunch of other jobs that have to do with finance, money, personal bankers, understanding the vocabulary of these jobs. It's very detailed. It's very interesting. Health science, again, this ties in with our other nursing, and it's even more detailed. So if I was a nursing student, I would really want to know all of these specialties. I would want to know the vocabulary associated with that. And then there's admitting nurse, nurse midwives, practical nurse, an introduction to the hospital, operating nurses, public health school nurses, psychiatric nurses, school nurses, pharmacists. It's all very interesting. And the vocabulary is also very different. It's case by case. Taking a blood test is one of the end of the year exams that the students have to do to pass. So this would be a really good lesson to practice, especially I know we have some trilingual students. And this is a lesson plan that is modern and fresh and has some role play examples and vocabulary. So that would be an interactive lesson to use, another way for the students to practice. Usually, nurses will be using tablets in school. Sometimes they still use old paper charts, but that's definitely going away. If you're in a different kind of country that hasn't digitized yet, they might still be using paper charts. But many people in Silicon Valley are using a digitized way of getting vital signs. So, this is a really interesting lesson. And as always, we're embedding our technical skills in our students. So, this would be a really good thing for our CTE teachers to take a look at. There's a lot of good information here. Just working through that would increase student knowledge. And then there's public safety, human services. There's really good details here. That the human services kind of is another way to go. So if someone did not want to be a nurse, but they're still interested in nursing and caregiving, they can find out other certificates that they might be able to get, like first aid, how to apply for the job as a caregiver, caregiver communication. This is all working in a skilled nursing facility. This is all very interesting. It's a step-by-step what that looks like. What are the skills I need? How to read a chart, how to make sure they're getting their meds, different things like this. Handling patient equipment. It's all very interesting. And you get scenarios that they're meant to be understanding these different vocabularies. So I would recommend taking a look through that and having your students spotlight that individually and then sharing it out to class. That's one way. If you want to study mathematics and technology, engineering, a lot of us have high-level students from other countries. Right now, we have a large group from Colombia that are engineers, and there are a variety of engineers. Many of them are civil engineers, industrial engineers. So what they want to do is increase their vocabulary so they can get a job in America. Well, one way to do that is to give them lessons in things they already feel comfortable. And so there's a variety of lessons talking about quality assurance, things in our country, things that they might be used to. So I would have them work through these lessons. It's taking English and making it meaningful. So we do have a core using ventures, units 1 through 10, and those are our basic skills. But then what we really should be doing is supplementing with this kind of employment vocabulary building access based on individual students' interests, quality audits and certificates. It's very detailed, and they give you these little scenarios, and students should be able to improve their vocabulary and be able to talk about their jobs this way. So we back all the way out. Another way is to go to home. That's another way that will back you out. But if you go to this last tab, what's nice here is that you'll see travel. And this will tie in if they just are interested in planning a vacation or they want an alternative kind of travel. All of these are very interesting for students. So if I go back to my home, one thing that our trainer Suzanne today did not show us is messages. There should be an envelope and you can write a message to your students right in Burlington. So that's another way you could email them. There is a place in your Canvas dashboard where you can email your students. You don't have to email them through Gmail. And so that's one thing that becomes really important is the messaging. You want to keep our Gmail available for important messages. And then it's really important that you use the different venues for students to receive messages as well. Okay. So if I go to my tutorials, she took us for training in this tile. And she showed us that mostly everything you have a question about, and folks have questions about, finding progress for different students. For example, you just click on this, and then you go ahead and watch that video.
Hello and welcome. In this video, you will learn how to view your progress for a course. First, click on the Courses tile. Then, choose your course and
So you can take any one of those trainings anytime you want. She also was talking about how to tailor our page. So, for example, in courses, suppose I only teach beginners, and when the beginners are clicking in, there's so many choices that we don't really want them to get lost and click the wrong tile, similar to Canvas, right? So if I'm only teaching basics and low beginners, I can take the rest of these tiles off and tailor that. So there's tutorials at the top if I'm interested in that. There's a list view. So if you are in list view and you want to tailor your courses, you can change this. Or you can also send Misty a way to tailor your courses. We tried to tailor some students' courses, but teachers said, "Oh, no, something's missing. I want all of their, I want them to have access to everything." They really don't need access to every single thing. They should actually have a really pared down um, view so that they're not overwhelmed. And if you want to know how to do that, how to tailor that with your beginners, you can go in with My Portfolio and you can say, I want my basics to just be in my portfolio. That's all I want. Or I can have them have just time. We're only going to have that today. I can add that to my portfolio. And you can pull from a variety of sources and add it to your portfolio. And then students will be able to just go to My Portfolio and they would see a variety of choices in your portfolio. Okay, so that's really another way to tailor what you'd like them to do. Burlington can do a variety of things like that. If you want more time and how to figure this out, Misty is available to meet with people one-on-one. And I think that would be better because some teachers are really using the readers. In the morning class, besides asking for more titles, Hulan was asking for a whole level that's pre-beginner, like a Lexile that's even lower than this. So that's something to consider. So if I am reading The Railway Children, I would come in here and I would enter this book. And so she was just saying, if I'm reading chapters 1 through 3, sometimes this can be a little too difficult. So she's wondering if this can go lower. There are some other things you can use here. Larger text. You can make this bigger. That's always very useful. You can have it read aloud. Okay. For number 1. And then you can also have it animate. You can have line spacing change. You can space the letters. As you can see, if I hit that, it will space the letters even more farther apart. You can do contrast. You can change different things to help. And then there's different keyboard animations. So if you need any of these kind of skills or additional accessibility helpers, she went over that. And then always you can reset the answers. And so she was asking about those story tips. The answer to that was they are working on it. This is not the first time that they've heard a request for this. Then there's a variety of other documents in here that kind of talk about how to go over the lesson with your students. It's giving you tips as a student, as a teacher. They can see that as well. So it's really good information. And just be aware that there's 2 rows for beginners, and there's some intermediate novels. They've added some new books here, and they've added some books here, some chapters for the advanced readers. Okay. And then if I go to the home button, I think when you're on your profile, you can change your mother tongue to a different language if you want. You can get support. If you find something that's buggy or something looks very strange, feel free to write your issue down. This goes into it's a version of their TSR. So if you'd like to meet with them and set up something on your own time, you can definitely do that. They have a translate button, so you can help them. Students can do it as well. If there's something wrong with their account, usually Norma and I can help them very quickly. But if we're not here, this is another way for them to get some help. And then there is a video virtual class scheduler. If you want them to use a calendar, that's one way to do it. And then reports. They were talking about how to get reports for students. And she just gave us a brief overview of a lot of new things. Student session report. It's only over 30 days. So the best thing would be, this is showing September. So if I go from September to September 30th, and then I run, it'll be a report that comes up. I don't have any students in there, but it'll come up like an Excel spreadsheet. And you'll be able to see how long your students are spending on Burlington outside of Burlington. And then they were showing how to prepare for CASAS because they have these new, this was new last year. And so there's a bunch of different Burlington CASAS preparation, test practice. So if they are really, really low and they need help with reading or listening, they can go ahead and practice test level. And it's exactly like the test. So you can go ahead and have them test themselves on that, what they would put in there. Really interesting to have them work on that. And this is something you could do while you're grading at the end of the year, while you're doing, some students are working on a capstone project, and this is just additional help, additional lesson. Okay. And that's what we worked on today. So if you have any questions, please ask Norma and she can help you out.